Alrighty guys, welcome back to another LEGO set review from BrickByBrick, and today we set number 21315. This is the LEGO Ideas pop-up book containing 859 pieces, retailing for $69.99. This was the last idea set of 2018, the 23rd idea set overall, and when the figures leaked, I was pretty excited to see the final product here, as especially that wolf looked pretty cool, and it was also partially designed by Brickworks, who always makes cool stuff. He also was the fan designer for the Marble Maze, and Grant Davis also worked on this project with him. And then you have a page in the instructions on the LEGO designers, and then some stuff on the history of pop-up books, which is kind of interesting to look at, and then some stuff on the two fairy tales included inside, Little Red Riding Hood and Jack and the Beanstalk. But that's also then repeated in some other languages. And in the back we have a nice little ad for LEGO Ideas that uses the same kind of background style as this set, and the back of the instructions always look a little bit different for idea sets. And the design of the book by itself is pretty respectable looking. It's done in dark green, which is a cool color to see this in, as this had to introduce several new pieces in dark green. I believe some large, like 1x12 bricks were introduced in dark green for the set. But I like the kind of elegant design they went with these curved tiles. Those were pretty effective, but it's pretty good looking. This, luckily, is a print. There are no stickers in the set, which is typical for idea sets, but there have been some where they've had to go with stickers. But this looks really good, really well designed. Just makes the book look pretty elegant. You also get two 1x6 tiles with the last names of each of the set designers, Allen and Davis, and those are cool to get. The spine, it would have been nice to see duplicates of those 1x6 tiles, so you could have the two authors' names on the spine at the very least. But it looks okay, and the back of the book is the same as the front, except plain, no decorations. And you have some pages represented here with the tan bricks here, and the way that the whole mechanism here works is you just pull the book open and you get to see the inside. And the folding motion is pretty good, it works pretty well, really doesn't get caught up at all, so that's good. And on the inside of the book, we've got these two front corner sections, which are just plates that are stuck in there onto a couple of studs, and those on both sides don't change between the two stories, but the rest of the stuff is an interior that you can pull out and remove completely and swap over to a different story, which Jack and the Beanstalk uses this little clip here, which the Red Riding Hood one did not. But we'll take a look at the Jack and the Beanstalk story in more detail first, because I think that it is just a little bit more interesting looking. And if we pull this here open, you can push that right into place, and then that folds up like so. And that does not use these studded sections in the back that the Red Riding Hood did, but it creates this little cloudy, hilly area. Used a lot of these double tree slopes in orange, and you have this windmill up here, which looks pretty good. And from behind, it's nothing special, but you know, it's impressive with the height that it's able to get due to this mechanism here, which has this string that just pulls those Technic levers up. It's just a pretty cool design. And up on the top of the cloud, we've got this little castle build. It's pretty well done. And for that build, we have the little Jack nano figure, as well as the giant who can do his thing up here or wherever. And he can't really stay there, he'll fall. But you can actually fit the figures just rested inside the book. You don't want to do it so that it breaks everything, but you can rest the figures inside the book and just have that sitting on the shelf, and then whenever you want to play with it, go take it, open it up, and it'll pop open, and then you'll have your giant down here on the ground. And just because it's easier to take a look at them separately, we have the two inside builds from the Red Riding Hood story, which we're about to put inside the book. But over here we have just this plate, which you can stand figures on when it's inside the book. You won't be able to close it while they're standing up, but you could stand them here if you wanted to. And I think you probably could get away with lying the figures down on here if you wanted to be able to close the book up with the figures inside, not rattling around. But it's got just a pink teapot and a cup, very simple. And then we have this bed, which is a little bit more complex and well designed because you can actually slot a figure inside. It doesn't look like she has pillows, but when you have a figure in, like the bed by itself looks a little weird, but when you have a figure inside, then it looks pretty good. And you could also remove the grandma and put Wolf Grandma inside instead. And just again to show you how easy it is, you just plop that in, you plop this in, and plop in the Little Red Riding Hood house. And again, this house looks pretty good. There's really no detail on the other side of it, but I like the chimney. The roof looks pretty nice. The tiles here too. The door can open up. You do have to make sure the door is closed before it'll fold up. And they do use these two cheese slopes here to prevent it from folding inwards and locking, which again is very effective. And just turn the book around. Here we have the inside of the house. There is a little bit of fire inside the fireplace, but otherwise it's just a little room area where you can stand your figures, display them, whatever. And yeah, I guess let's, while we're here, we'll test the ability to close this up with figure lying down right there. And I guess the wolf can lie down as well. And let's see, is it possible? Well, she's going to hit her head on the bed, so not really. But if we do it like that, now she's hitting her head on the other side of the bed. If we move her one stud in, is it possible? No, still doesn't really work, but regardless, this is the last attempt. Yeah, there we go. If you want to do it, you can just have them sticking like this. There we go. That should work. They'll hit each other. So that doesn't work, but you can hide one figure inside if you wanted to. That was the little experiment of the day. But when you're all done, you can wrap it up and put it back as a book. And this by itself, I think, looks cool on its own, even without thinking about what it's got inside. And I guess we'll continue with the Little Red Riding Hood story and take a look at those figures first, as there are more of them. We have the grandma and grandma turned wolf. Grandma has a new torso. Her face is an existing one. They used it in Ninjago City for Mistake, same with that hair. The wolf has a new torso and leg print, as well as a reuse of that wolf headgear mold, which I think was originally from Monster Fighters, but I know they reused it in Series 14 for the Lumberjack Wolf dude. But this time it's got glasses printed on there, which is just hilarious, and I like that a lot. The torso is just a torn up version of her torso, and the legs as well are just got some tears on plain legs. It's a good looking design, and I really appreciate the wackiness of this figure. If you wanted it to not have glasses, you could swap it with one of the other ones, because the other ones were in gray, or the other one was in gray. But yeah, this is a pretty good figure here, especially. She's kind of whatever, but important for the story. And then we have Little Red Riding Hood herself, and this figure is pretty interesting because it uses the Lloyd hood from the Lego Ninjago movie, casual version of him, in dark brown and red, which is pretty cool. Nice new color for that piece. And she has a relatively common face that they use a lot in city sets for little kids underneath. And she does have a basket with 2 cookies. They're the same kind of cookie, and you get a spare of that included in the set as a spare piece. And torso is pretty good. I like the dress piece, the use of that. It's got really good printing all around. And she has a little back printing on her torso. And yeah, this is pretty cool. I do think it's a pretty significant upgrade from the Series 7 Little Red Riding Hood minifigure. But, you know, it's a pretty cool thing to get here, and a pretty good level of detail for a non-licensed Ideas minifigure. And then we have Jack and the Giant, with the Giant being represented by a regular minifigure, and Jack being represented by a nano figure. And the printing on him is really cool. You do get a spare Jack in the set. The Giant has a new torso print. His face print is a city print that they use a lot for criminals and stuff. And his hair is something that we've seen quite a bit. But the torso is nice. It's got a goose in there. It's got some dead people's skulls on the back, which that's about nanofig size, like pretty much 1-to-1, maybe slightly off, but so that's effective, basically, dead nanofigures, which yeah, okay. And he has no leg print, but that's fine. I think this works pretty well for what it is. He is probably the least interesting, or my least favorite figure in the set, but Jack is pretty cool. So I finally found it. This is the best way to put figures inside if you want them to be in there and not just rattling around. But you can easily fit the Giant there. Jack can easily fit up top of the castle, and that folds up perfectly fine. Now, can it be done with the Little Red Riding Hood? Well, let's find out, and no, it cannot. But, again, maybe that's useful information for you to know that the Jack and the Beanstalk, you can store all the figures inside. Also, no matter what you try, you won't be able to fit Little Red because her skirt piece is wider than the amount of space, especially when you have the, I guess you can fit her just in there. And she actually can't move around because she's trapped right in there. But you won't be able to fit all the figures, so I don't know if that's useful information. Overall, I think that this is a great idea set. I think that it might be my favorite non-licensed, unless we're counting the Saturn V as NASA licensed, or unless we aren't counting the Saturn V as non-licensed, which, you know, it's on the fence there. But this is just a cool idea. I think that it definitely has some value in the whole pop-up book design. I think that that as a concept is a cool thing that, I mean, I probably wouldn't have thought of, but the mechanism works really smoothly. And from what I understand, I think the mechanism was pulled straight from the idea submission. I don't think they really changed that at all. But the figure selection here is over the top as well. I mean, I didn't expect anything this detailed from a non-licensed idea set that could literally have used any figures. I mean, yeah, it just, this feels like a nice product. I think of the two interiors, the Jack and the Beanstalk one is a little bit cooler looking, so I will be keeping mine as the Jack and the Beanstalk one for the long run. But, you know, I currently in there have the Little Red Riding Hood one, because I did that section of the review last. But, you know, just having this ability to open this up and, you know, put some figures inside and act out some stories, that's pretty cool. And I think that this is a fun set. Not only, like, typically idea sets seem to be more adult targeted, but I think that this is a really good set for kids too. I think that there's a lot of value in this for just about any LEGO fan. So anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed this review. If you did, let me know in the comment section down below, and I will see you guys all next time. Bye everyone.